Hi, welcome to Conversations Matter with me, Heather Criswell. I wanted to share with you a story from yesterday. First, I did get to see a new movie yesterday. It actually was only showing yesterday at major theaters. It was called Free Trip to Egypt. If you get a chance to see it or see the trailer for it, it's all about how we have conversations with each other to break down the barriers that in politics and religion that hold us apart instead of binding us together. So it's a beautiful movie with beautiful tones of love and how we are all one if we just give each other a chance and have the conversations that matter, which was perfect for what I'm doing right now. Anyway, yesterday, my son had some issues with some boys that were calling him names on the playground, and he was really struggling with it. And so he chose to do a couple of things that he probably shouldn't have done. And the teacher said to him that he needed to come tell on the boys. And I had a moment when I talked to the teacher to really think about that. After working with thousands of children and having the preschool for many, many years, some of you know, some of you don't. I had a preschool for nearly a decade. Kids call each other names. They do things to each other that are not kind. And what I have learned over the years is it's just practice. Practice on how do we communicate? How do we connect? How do we tell each other what we need and want? And the problem with telling the teacher is that it puts the power out of the victim's hands, out of the perpetrator's hands, and into an authority's hands. And we talk about that in Raise a Happy Child, our book. But what I want to say here is that what if we just changed our words with them? What if we just said, hey, if you're struggling, go ask the teacher for help? And that's different than telling the teacher, than telling on the boys. And think about it for your work, right? You're having an issue with a coworker. Do you go tell your boss that you're having an issue, tattletale to your boss? Or would it be more helpful that if you couldn't get your resolution with the coworker, to go ask the boss for help? So instead of saying to your boss, oh my gosh, he's just being ridiculous. He comes in and he's late every day and he complains and he causes me grief and he's not doing his work. What if you just went to the boss and said, look, I'm having some issues here. I don't know how to handle this. I don't have the skill set to handle this right now. Can you help me? Can you help me with some words or some ideas that can get me through this? And that's the same kind of guidance and coaching that I think that we need to do with our children first and foremost, because what we are doing is we're conditioning them out of the space of having meaningful conversations, connection, rooted in love. Moments together where you can say, this is what I need, this is what I need, and you can come to cooperation together, not necessarily compromise, but cooperation together. It works across the board. And what happens is as we get older, we start telling to bigger authorities. Maybe it's a police officer. Maybe it's an attorney. Maybe it's the president of the United States, whatever that is. Certainly, if we're in a lot of trouble, we absolutely need authority. But I promise you, we could avoid a lot of the conflict that we have on this planet with each other with great communication skills rooted in love, with great conversations rooted in love, where we see each other eye to eye and know that our intention is not to hurt each other. Our intention is misunderstood. We are misunderstood. And again, I'm not going to the extremes. I'm talking about 6 and 7-year-olds right now, really learning those skills so that later on down the road, we don't have to have managers getting involved, attorneys, you name it, police officers, congressmen. We can have conversations that get our solutions met at our needs right there, right then and right there. So today, think about it. If you have a issue with somebody, think about how you can have a conversation rooted in love, a conversation that really describes what you're needing and what you're wanting and how we can work together. And if you can't have that conversation, find somebody to help you. Maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a therapist, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your kid. Sometimes I say to my son, What would you do? What would you do if you were having this problem? And he comes up with amazing answers, because we are naturally love. And the older we get, the further away we get from it often. So today, think about that. And think about how much we could avoid all of the problems that we have if we just start these communications early. Ask for help, get some answers, and move forward in the greatness that you are. I love you all so much. And remember that conversations matter, because conversations rooted in love change everything. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.